Hello. Hello and welcome. You're welcome to Contemporary Views. It has been a while. I came live. No, I was live last week, but the connection was not the best. So I am happy and grateful. It is good today. Yes. So just give me a moment. Let me share my life, and then we get to talk about a couple of things that are happening. Since we only discuss trends on contemporary views, I want to give a big shout out to my friends of the Enlightened Christian Gathering Church, and I want to say a happy belated birthday to the Prophet Shepherd Bushiri of the Enlightened Christian Gathering Church. For those of you who don't know, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri he is a preacher, a businessman, a teacher. Guys, when you join the live, you do well to let me know where you are joining in from. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining my live. When you join in, do well to let me know where you are watching me from. There's an update I want to give you. There is news that is trending on social media. I thought it wise to come and talk about it. Recently, that's last week, the Special Investigation Unit of South Africa concluded their investigations, and amongst the people that were being investigated were 2 prophets. So that is what we are going to be discussing. So I was just trying to give a foundation. I was just trying to tell us who and what we are going to be talking about today. When you join, hi Chawia. When you join the live, do well to like the video. If you know stuff about this topic, please do well to drop it at the comment section. Yes, so that we can together discuss the issue. Now, for those of you who don't know who Prophet Shepherd Bushiri is, I already gave a brief description of who he is, but I'm going to talk about Pastor Timothy Omotoso. Timothy Omotoso is a Nigerian pastor, but he had spent about 25 to 30 years in South Africa, where he was actively preaching and teaching the word of God. That is where he had his church. But unfortunately, a couple of years back, he was in a messy scandal. Yes, a very, very, very messy scandal, a very dirty one at that. So it led to his arrest. He was locked up for some time. He was arraigned in court, and then he was convicted and then deported. That is how this pastor left South Africa after about 25 or 30 years that he has spent in that country. I want to tell you that according to information present on the news on social media, that he amassed a lot of wealth in that country. Yes, because his followers believed in him, they liked him, so they gave him whatever he wanted. In as much as we are looking at the church or Christianity as a religion, as a faith, some people are looking at it as some kind of business, some form of business, because I don't understand how people get to open churches, people become preachers or teachers just to be able to raise money, just to be able to live a comfortable life. So it appears this was the case, because these two pastors are very wealthy and they amassed a lot of wealth just by being pastors in Christian churches. Now, in the case of Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, he is a philanthropist, a serial business mogul. He actually owns a conglomerate of businesses, because he doesn't have just one business. He is the owner of Shepherd Bushiri Investments, SBI, I think that is the name of his business, Shepherd Bushiri Business, Shepherd Bushiri Investment. And under Shepherd Bushiri Investment, he has businesses in real estate, in mining. I understand that he owns a university, a printing press, and a host of other businesses. I can categorically tell you that Shepherd Bushiri is a very wealthy man, a very, very rich pastor, a rich businessman, because even the caliber of businesses that he does speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. But some people feel that he has been able to make all of this just because he is a pastor, and then he is being dragged for being, in quotes, a fake pastor. That is very embarrassing. That is very shameful. But then, what can I say? Now, sometime, if I am not mistaken, in 2019, Shepherd Bushiri was on the news. He has always been that controversial person. He has always been that controversial pastor. He will always be on the news. People will always get to hear stuff about him on the news. And then, you know, he has a team of lawyers who are also keen on defending him. So you don't just get to bully him or maybe accuse him without evidence or stuff. He's a powerful man. So back in 2019, Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary Bushiri were arrested. Why were the duo arrested? Why were the couple arrested? Information on media has it that they had started a scheme in their church where people will make contributions. Yes, they will bring money, they will contribute money, and then he was going to invest that money and then bring back the profits to them. It was something like a Ponzi scheme. So, but this business failed because some people were not adequately compensated based on the terms of the businesses, because some members who were pensioners went to withdraw their pension money so that they can invest it. You know, when we talk about investment, it is good because when you invest, you get back whatever you invested with profits. It is normal. It is ethical. It is smart for you to invest whatever small money you have so that it can multiply. But according to the news, what these people did not know was that that investment wasn't going to come back to them. They were actually investing in the prophet's own interest and not in theirs. Yes, that is how it started. So a group of them, a few of them, had to go to the police station to lay a complaint against Major One. They reported him, and then they mobilized a group. There was a strike action against him. At that time, I can remember I saw videos of how the people were marching, you know, they were chanting, they had flyers, they have placards, they were all out demanding for their investments, for the return of their investments, because they had not received any profits on their investments, and it looked like they will never receive profits on those investments. I can say that that is how his issues started in South Africa. No, you know, South Africa is one of the most beautiful countries in Africa, a country whose economy is actually working. It's not like the other countries in Africa where the economy is for where the law is for the rich. Actually, based on what we see on the news, the economy of South Africa is actually working, and the laws are being applied on everyone, including the rich. So he was called in for questioning, and when he came in to answer the questions, now they realized that there were other things that were not right with him according to the law, like the immigration case, because it was after people had protested that his investment was a scam, was a Ponzi scheme, and then they reported him. And then when he was called in for questioning, an investigation ensued, and part of this investigation questioned his stay in South Africa. Now, it is said that Shepherd Bushiri came into South Africa at the time with a visitor's visa. So when he got to the country, he established, and then he began to run his churches and his businesses. So Home Affairs was investigated based on these allegations, and it was found out that his stay in the country was not legal. If you're doubting, he is a Malawian. So in South Africa, he was illegal because he came into South Africa with just a visitor's visa. So when he I don't know if it's before or after, but according to the reports that is making rounds since last week, he came in, and then a member of his church had to sign or had to forge, allegedly, Home Affairs documents to give him a stay, permanent stay in the country, and that he didn't go through the right channels. He didn't request through the right channels. So one of his members just had to, you know, indulge to help him get a legal stay in the stay in the country, which of course it's illegal, because according to special investigation units, his stay in South Africa was illegal. Now, when information spread around the country that this is what is going on, people started complaining about fake miracles he had performed on them or for them. All these things are on the news already, down on social media, you can check them. People started complaining, oh, he did this for me, oh, he did that for me, oh, he, you know, a lot of people running out and talking. And then, of course, when things happen without the women aspect, it looks like it's not holding at the center. There was also a sexual molestation claim still against this man. Claims on corruption were multiple claims on corruption, you know. his accounts were investigated because there were some huge amounts of money that passed through that account that, according to investigation, was questionable. So there is also the claim of money laundering as one of the claims, or one of the problems that they are accusing him of. So you can see that Prophet Shepherd Bushiri was in a hot mess back there in South Africa. When you join in the live, do well to like the video and then share the live. Thank you so much. Oh, hi there, walk with me. Thank you for joining my live. I need you to like the video. So now he was in a hot mess. Many things were not working out for him. I want to give credits to his team, his legal team. They had a very, very strong fight with the South African legal department, because they were able to secure a bail. I cannot remember how much the bail settlement was at the time. I cannot remember how much the bail settlement was left at, but it was a huge bail. I don't remember, maybe 100,000 rand or something. I really can't remember that figure. But and then they needed landed property, and then couple of individuals who stand in as sureties to sign for his bail, himself and his wife, because when Shepherd Bushiri was called in for questioning, shortly after that, his wife Mary Bushiri too was also called in, because remember I told you that they had said that both of them did not come into the country legally. So the immigration aspect of the cases also implicated the wife, because they had come into the country at the same time. And also she too was she also had a case against her for the money laundering case, because she too was also involved, since she is one of the partners there at the church. So now when the bail was granted and they were released from detention, they went home. Truth is, right up till today, I don't know how this couple left South Africa. I don't know. It wasn't mentioned in the news because nobody knew. It's like they leave them to go home. They never got home. But the very next day, they were seen in Malawi, their home country. Isn't that amazing? At that time, rumor had it that the leader of the country, who is also a personal friend of the prophet, had helped out with a private jet. But now that was an outside, that was not a confirmed story, because it's nowhere. But people began to analyze the story. They began to analyze the situation. They began to analyze what had happened. So I can't say for sure if the leader of their country had a hand in that, but he mysteriously left South Africa. Nobody knows whether it was by air. Nobody knows whether it was by land. Nobody knows whether it was in a car. Nobody knows whether he disappeared and appeared in his country. Nobody knows. Till today, that is top classified information. I really don't know if he passed through the sea or through air or what. I don't know. But the long and short of it is he left for his country with his family. At the time, he had 2 children, 2 girls. He traveled back to his place. When when the case was subsequently called up in court, his lawyers kept attending, but Shepherd Bushiri was nowhere to be found. He was in his country, his home country, Malawi. Now, the legal department of South Africa made judgments in absentia because he was not there. There were cases that concerned the community. I don't know, I don't remember very much, but there were cases that he had with the community where he lived in Johannesburg. So because some of his assets were auctioned to pay up his debt that he owed the management of the town, the city. Yes, I remember his mansions were sold, his cars were sold. He had a lot of property. He was a very wealthy person, or he is a very wealthy person. He had a lot of property around, even his church building, houses, mansions, cars, businesses. He ran away, left everything. So some of his assets were sold. I think I did a video at the time when his properties were sold. I think I did a video that time. His assets were sold, and then some of his debts paid. But it looks like the legal department in South Africa was not satisfied. Of course, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri had more than one case. He had multiple charges against him, many charges. So the legal department continued to pursue him, even outside South Africa. The judge ruled for an extraditement, and it was sent to his home country, Malawi. So that extraditement has been lingering for so long, maybe 3, 4, 5 years now. It has not been respected because they expected for the Malawian government to hand over Shepherd Bushiri to the South African government for prosecution. Shepherd Bushiri and Mary Bushiri, his wife, for prosecution. But that has not happened up till now. It hasn't happened. So now, a couple of years back, just as I told you, they had 2 daughters, 2 girls. One of them fell sick just when they had run out of South Africa. I want to say it was a very challenging time for the prophet. Very, very challenging. He loved his daughter so much. If you go to his page on Facebook and scroll right down, you would see how he showered so much love on this girl. He even bought her a Cullinan. I think that's the name of the car, a Cullinan, at age 6 years on her birthday. He bought the car for her. He did so many beautiful things for his daughter, and he made record and posted them on social media. He loved this girl. It so happened that this girl fell ill. She was sick and had to go to Kenya for an operation. She was supposed to have a procedure in Kenya. Now, I don't know if it is due to the cases he already had that he was not able to enter neighboring countries. Because, to be honest, he has issues in many countries. He has issues. So, but during the time when his daughter was sick, I think he needed a pass to go to Kenya. He was denied access. I can remember seeing a video where the baby girl was at the level of the airport. They were rejected and they had to go back. Yes. And then they went back. And time was passing. And unfortunately, that little angel passed away. This break the couple. Imagine fleeing from jail with your family to safety, in quotes. And then the moment you get to sit down, you get to feel like, okay, I am safe. And then you breathe a sigh of relief. And then you begin to put your life in order again. It's like starting all over again. And then you get hit with the dirty blow in the face. I don't wish that for any parent, even my enemy. Losing a child, it is a disaster. So now, that is how the prophet and his wife really got broken. I remember watching the funeral on TV at the time. It was so sad. It was so sad. After being dragged by all the bloggers on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Shepherd Bushiri this, Major One that, he did this, he did that, you know. People called him all kinds of names. The shame was just too much. The shame was just enormous, you know. People had to bring out his videos. People had to tell his story in their own way. There were even ladies who came out to report romantic relationships with them. You know, so many nasty things, so many controversies on the internet at the time. And then boom, he loses his daughter, a child he loved so much. That really brought Prophet Shepherd Bushiri to his knees. He took off time from the media. He took off time from church. It was a big blow. Him and his wife, they mourned their loss. Even in this very painful moment, some bloggers could not give them time to mourn. They still dragged them and mocked them in their pain, especially those people in South Africa who were angry about the business scheme. They said he had stolen from them, he had carried their money away, and the loss of their baby girl was him paying a huge price for his sins. People also questioned his powers because he is popular for miracles, for healing miracles to be precise. He is also very popular for prophesying. So he sees things before they happen. So now, that is where bloggers or his haters capitalized. You say you are a prophet. You see things before time. How come did you not see that you're going to have this loss? How come did you not see that this is the solution to this problem? How come? It only goes as far as makes it, it gives proof that you're fake. All along you've been fake. All the things you've been saying are not true. It wasn't easy for this man at the time. Some even said that he had sacrificed his baby for power. I mean, many nasty things that people said to him at that time. It was so bad, so painful. I remember at the time I used to follow up on social media. I used to watch it on TV. We used to have there's this channel called South Africa, a South African news channel. They were reporting on him back to back. Zimbabwean channels back to back. Kenyan channels back to back. It's just that I don't understand Swahili, so some of the channels they'll speak in English and then speak in the dialect. They speak in English and then speak in Swahili. You know, some of those native languages. Yeah, but he was dragged. There was news on him all the time. Even his long-time enemy, Pastor Mboro, Paseka Mosenen, he too was there, you know. But like I said, even to my enemies, I don't wish that kind of pain. It was bad, but he was still dragged. His cases in court were still called. His extradition case was ongoing. And then finally, the baby was laid to rest. And then, of course, him and his wife, they took time off media, off church, off ministry to recuperate, and then eventually they came back. So after coming back, normally, no matter how good a person is, there are people who will love that person and there are people who are going to hate that person. And no matter how bad you are, there are people who are going to like you and there are people who are going to hate you. So for his lovers who were still in South Africa and who still believed in him, they too also came out and protested against the South African government, against the police, against the courts, that he is a true man of God, that he has helped them, that he is a blessing to them and to their community, and that what they were doing to him was not fair and they had to stop. You know, he will go online, he will speak to them on Facebook, he will make live services. Even till today, he still has live services that he organized, church services live. Yes, so the members of his church, that side where he can no longer go, they will still do the needful. I can remember during COVID, when everywhere was locked, he had lots of papers he was reading out during services. These papers were printed from donations, offerings, tithes that were sent in from different countries by members. I mean, huge volumes of papers. You know, he was during service. Yes, he has seen this one, he has seen this one, he has seen this one. So he still continued his services online. Maybe if you want to see him one-on-one, then you would have to travel to his native in Malawi. You have to go there to see him. And as far as his extraditement case is concerned, it has not been he has not been extradited. So the decision is still pending, because he too took the matter to court in his country, and then he's fighting. Now, some people are saying that the crimes were committed in South Africa. So the South African government is expecting him to come back and answer his charges. And the big question is, if he claims to be innocent, because that's what he has been saying all along, that he's innocent. So the big question is, if he claims to be innocent, why is it that he is not coming to South Africa to answer the case? Why? That's the big question on everybody's lips. So 4, 5 years, 6 years after he moved, investigation still continued. And now the boss of the Special Investigation Unit recently came out to let the world know that he had been investigating, and the results of the investigations were out. And these investigations covered a couple of crimes, many crimes from different people. And inside the list, there were 2 prominent pastors. Main reason they featured in that crime list was their illegal immigration, because it wasn't established how they found themselves in that country, and there's a questionable there's question on how they obtained residency in the country. Also, both of them are guilty of corruption. Yes, because it is said that they corrupted members of Home Affairs, something like that. They corrupted some members of Home Affairs. So members of Home Affairs were also investigated, and then a couple of them were mentioned. Those who were guilty were kicked out of their offices. Some were arrested and then prosecuted in court. Some lost their jobs. And now this is a developing story. I know that in the days ahead, more information is going to be on the internet on this case, because I don't think South African government is willing to let go of these 2. They are not. They have been on their case for quite a while now. So there's no way they are going to let these 2 be. So they're still going to be investigated. Yes, they're still going to be investigated. Or they will keep insisting that the extraditement be executed, so that the prophet can come back to South Africa to answer a case. As for Pastor Timothy Omotoso, he was prosecuted in South Africa, though not found guilty, but he was deported on the basis of illegal stay, that he was living in the country illegally. Before he left, everything was seized from him, so he left empty-handed. Yes, I did a video at the time when Omotoso was kicked out of South Africa. So now, based on this recent report, there's evidence now. There's evidence that he actually had moved into the country illegally, and then he did a lot of illegal businesses in the country. So, but the sad news I got today is because it's actually said that a member of Enlightened Christian Gathering Church, Bushiri's church, who works for Home Affairs, was the facilitator, the mediator for him to have an illegal stay. He signed and forged documents in Home Affairs for his pastor, so his pastor can have a legal stay in the country, in South Africa. So this man was accused. At the time, he was taken in, he was prosecuted in court, and then he was dismissed from his job. So latest information is that this man has passed on, and now the result of the investigation is out, and inside that report he is still guilty. There is still charges, his charges are still standing, but this man is not alive today to defend himself. So it's most likely that he's going to have this stain on his name, because there's no way he can come defend his name. There's no way. But in the past, he was already being prosecuted for that. He was guilty, unless maybe the special investigation unit would have cleared his name. But no, it didn't clear his name. It maintained that he was the one responsible for collecting money and then forging documents for the prophet so he can have a stay in South Africa. Now, unfortunately, he has passed on. May his soul rest in peace, and my condolences to the family he left behind. Just like I said, it is unfolding. I know that in the days ahead, there's going to be more news based on this. But say 4 or 5 days ago, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri had posted on his Facebook page. Yes, he had posted on his Facebook page. He had given his own response to the SIU boss. He had already refused in the past, and he's still refusing and denying the claims. He said he was legal in the country, that he had applied in the Malawian embassy, South African embassy in Malawi, that he had applied, and that the law in South Africa says that if you have investments up to about 10 million, is it rands or dollars? One of them, it should be rands, up to about 10 million rands in investment, you can have a legal stay. So it was based on this that he was granted a legal stay in South Africa, and that he didn't only have 10 million rands in investment, he had over 90 million rands in investments in South Africa before he even moved to South Africa. So there's no way Home Affairs or special investigation units are going to say that his stay was illegal, that it's the law in South Africa and he was legal. He had not forged anything and his stay was legal. And for the businesses, that he didn't do any illegal business. He had money laundering charges. He didn't do any money laundering. Nobody loaned that money through his church. He's a businessman. He deals in precious metals, gold, diamond, and other minerals. He had real estates, and that his business was doing fine, and everything that he had to his name, he purchased it with his money. Looking at the kind of businesses that he had, it is very, very possible for him to be that rich, for him to be able to buy all the things that he bought, because he lived lavishly. He dresses well. He goes for vacations. His wife goes for vacation. They lived a very beautiful and lavish lifestyle in South Africa. Having a business in real estate, having a business in mining, having a business, a university, having a printing press, an author, writing books and articles, selling online and offline. Of course, it's enough to show that he was a very wealthy person. And of course, he had a church where people give him their 10%. Tithe is 10%. People give their first fruits. People give offerings. So a lot of money too was coming in from the church. Even the South African government was saying that he did illegal stuff, but the legal ones that he presents in public are enough to cover his lifestyle. I understand that the South African government has refused to let go, and I know they'll keep knocking on the door of justice till Malawi surrenders the prophet to them, because in his country it seems he's untouchable. As for Pastor Timothy Omotoso, I checked. I haven't seen any response from him so far. He hasn't said anything. His media, his spokespeople have not said anything. In fact, he just went quiet ever since his embarrassing ordeal. I've not heard of him. And now that this report has come accusing him, I am yet to hear. So this case is unfolding. I know in the days ahead there's still going to be more news, and whenever I have updates, I'm going to bring it. I'm going to come back with the updates, because of course there are a lot of pending issues. The government of South Africa is crying. The people of South Africa are crying. Many people have they have written petitions against him. Some are saying he's owing them. Some are saying he robbed them. So we need justice. That's what they're saying. We need justice. So justice for the people of South Africa, justice for the South African government, justice for the community where he was living in. A lot of people crying out for justice. I don't know how the government of South Africa is going to go about this case. I don't know. And I don't know if the government of Malawi is going to extradite him, because he already has an extraditement long ago that has not been executed. He still maintains that he is a man of God. He's a prophet called by God. He has people who believes in him. They see him as a prophet. They see him as a servant of God. They see him as God's own chosen, that he performs miracles, that he prays for them, he delivers them, he heals them. He also does a lot of humanitarian and what's the word? Charity. He also does a lot of humanitarian and charity works around. Yeah, so let him take his flowers for that. But nonetheless, people in South Africa are crying foul. They want justice. When is justice going to be served? He left South Africa 5-6 years ago. So when are these people going to get justice? Some of them were pensioners. I want to believe that not all of them are still alive today. When are they going to get justice? And then now, why does it seem like Christianity is instead trying to separate us from God rather than bring us to God? Why? Don't they say there is no smoke without a fire? So even if he denies everything, all the allegations against him, even if he denies, there was a fire. So there are questions, there are clarifications that he still has to do. I cannot come out here to call any pastor or prophet fake. I can only come out here to analyze what the news is about them. But if indeed some of these prophets or pastors are guilty of these things they say about them, I want to believe that they are instead separating the Christians from God and not bringing the Christians to God. The lying, the manipulation, the extortion, the embarrassment, it's appalling. When I was much younger and growing up, we used to reverend men of God. If they say someone is a pastor or a priest, by their character, you would know them. First of all, they don't mingle, they don't mix, and you would hardly ever hear nasty things being said about them. But today it is just so common, You hear pastors involved in very shameful things. Every blessed day you go to social media, a pastor violated somebody, a pastor impregnated somebody, a pastor this, a pastor that. They say people should not listen to what the pastor did or what the people are saying out there. If you go to church, you should just concentrate on the word of God. What happens to practice what you preach? You don't practice what you preach and then you expect people to come. Some of these pastors of nowadays send people out of the church because their character, their behavior is contrary to what they are preaching. And I don't blame people who cannot stand that, because the hypocrisy is huge. It is. At first, it will be hard for you to see a divorced pastor. But today, almost all the pastors that you know have divorced, married, remarried, divorced again, and they remarried again. Now the question is, since they can see in the future and God speaks to them and reveals stuff to them, why didn't they see that this partner is a wrong partner? Why? Isn't that questionable? We used to talk about patience in those days, but today, even the pastors are not patient. Even the pastors, some of them are involved in polygamous relationships. Most of them have children from different women. What happened to practice what you preach? Don't get me wrong, I am not judging. I am just thinking aloud. Recently, there's this pastor in Nigeria, Pastor Chris Okafor. For those of you watching, just go and type Chris Okafor. The scandals were numerous. Not one, not two, not three, not four. Until I was like, what the heck? What is happening? But do you know he still mount pulpits to preach? All type of nasty things were said about this man. He even came out to apologize and kneel down in front of his congregation, and it was broadcasted live. So he knelt down in front of the world to apologize for his sins, and then he continued being a pastor. I don't have the mandate to judge. I can't judge, but I am just shocked. I am just shocked that why many people look up to pastors as their role models. They believe in them, they love them. They are humans, they are not perfect, understood. But when it now becomes like a new pattern, don't you think it's questionable? It's wrong. It's questionable. Just think of the prominent pastors, the very famous pastors that you know. I am not going to mention any pastor's name. Think of about 10. Inside that 10, 8 are no longer with their first wives. 5 are in their third marriages. The question is, did God not reveal to them that the first wife wasn't their wives? It is a normal thing nowadays. They use the scripture, they manipulate, they lie. In another video, I am going to discuss Pastor Azena, Omega Fire Ministry pastor under Apostle Johnson Suleiman. A man of God came out to tell his senior pastor, the general overseer, that because of health reasons, he will not be able to continue his ministry at the church because he's not well. He wants to retire. The apostle accepts, sorts him out. He goes on retirement. And before you know it, he had built a church while serving the apostle. And the apostle did not know. He lied to him that he was sick, that he was not doing fine. And then opened his own church and carried members away. That is supposed to be a pastor. I am not judging here. I am just thinking aloud. If a man of God cannot have decorum, cannot have integrity, or dignity, he has no business preaching or teaching the word. Again, the question is, what happened to practice what you preach? What happened to practice what you preach? It is shameful. It is embarrassing. You get up, you lie in the name of God. God told me that. God told me that. God told me. Which God? This last African, what's it called? Nations Cup. We had a couple of pastors coming out giving fake prophecies. Now I don't know. Are prophecies predictions? I don't get it, because it is normal if you say this is my prediction. I am predicting that A is going to beat B, B is going to beat C, but not that I see in the spiritual realm. God told me that this is going to be this, and then in the end, it doesn't happen like you said. There's a scripture tailored to things like that, that if a prophet prophesies and it doesn't come to pass, then he's a false prophet. But you can never hear pastors wanting to preach that scripture outrightly. And now there's this thing. During the years I was taking foundational classes, I was told that prophecies are given to redeem. If a prophecy is given for redemption, it means the prophecy comes with the solution. If you get to see how the prophets of old dealt with issues in life, God gave them all the solutions to the problems he revealed to them. Unless they prayed and asked, and then God decided to change the outcome, or he refused to change and then they suffered what was predicted. But there was always an avenue for redemption. There was always something you could do, like a prevention, if you didn't want that prophecy to come to pass, especially if it was a bad one. But the prophets of today just prophesy and then they leave you in the air. You don't know what to do. You get confused. Now, let me tell you guys a personal experience that I had. At my age, I am the first child of my family. Together we are 7. I am the first. It means I have 6 people looking up to me. My both parents are still alive. At the time of the prophecy, my grandparents were both alive. My grandfather passed in February, and then my grandmother passed in November. So, but at that time, that pastor gave the prophecy, my both grandparents too were still alive. Now, he said that he is seeing challenges in front of me, and that there are a lot of things that are being demanded from me. And I began to wonder, I have how many siblings? 6. I am their eldest sister. I have children. I have uncles and aunties. I have aged parents and even older grandparents. In Africa, the community gives birth to a child, not a family, not a person. the community. So I have uncles and aunties in the community where my parents live, where I grew up. When I visit there, people come to ask for stuff because they know that their child has come. I have friends, I have classmates who also need stuff from me. So how then is it a prophecy that people are demanding things from me? I know that. I see you have a lot of challenges. I got so furious at him. I told him that if you don't have something to say, you better shut up. You cannot. I said, shut up. Don't stare me. I don't tolerate nonsense. I don't. Now, I have a second experience. In the second experience, I was walking on the streets, and then the pastor was praying. He normally he preaches by the side of the road. So that day I was passing, and then he stopped me. He greeted me. I answered. He said he had words for me, that he doesn't know if it's okay for him to speak to me. I said, go ahead. He said he's seen 2 arrows. The 2 arrows that took my mom are coming for me. 2 arrows. I said, so what must I do? He said, we need to go into fasting and prayers. And then, of course, I am going to give a seed. That's how I looked at him. I said, what did you say? Repeat your prophecy again. That 2 arrows that took my mom are coming for me. I said, do you mean took my mom as in she's dead or something? He said, yes. I said, whoa. This was like 5 years ago. My mom is still alive today. I got so furious at the man. I just want him that he should not try that rubbish with me. Don't come close to me with negativity. That the 2 arrows that took my mom to where? So now I am making references of these personal stories because many people, many of you out there watching me, may have also gone through things like this. Prophecies are given to redeem. When you give prophecies, you give the solution now. You give the solution. And sometimes if you are not called, please don't predict and then call it prophecy. There's a big difference between prediction and prophecy. And these things I am telling you kicks people out of the church. The church I grew up in is not the church that we have today. It's not. And the thing is, we always make excuses for people. I don't do that. I don't make excuses. There is no way I am going to know that this particular pastor is corrupt and then I sit under his influence. It's not possible. I will rebuke him every day. I will. I can do that. I am not judging. I am not questioning their call. I am not questioning anything about them. But I know that there is no how I am going to submit under any pastor with questionable character. It's not possible. Now, one thing I want you all to know today is you can always meet God, your creator, one-on-one in prayers. You don't need a middleman. You don't need a prophet. You don't need a pastor to be able to meet God. Remember, you are the one facing whatever challenge that you are facing. You are in the best position to relate that challenge to God. I don't know why people are so lazy these days to read their Bibles. Make it a habit to study the Word of God, because if you study, you will not be fooled. Study and make thyself approved. If you know they cannot deceive you, you will not be deceived. Christians of today don't have the patience of studying the Bible. They just want somebody to do stuff for them. And now there's this idea of miracle. I understand. Bible gives a lot of examples, of miracles that Christ had performed. Fine. You don't get anything, or you don't get by in life through prayers. It will not happen. If you feel hungry, you need food. If you become sick, you need a doctor. If you are psychologically disturbed, you need a psychologist. Let us begin to separate fiction from facts. I am giving you the facts here. No problems are being solved by prayers, especially if they are physical. When you pray, you need to work on whatever you are praying for before you can have it. I see Christians today spend 24 hours in a day inside the church, and then they don't want to be poor. How come? Amongst other religions, Christians are the poorest because they lack normal reasoning. Yes. Amongst other religions, Christians usually are the poor ones. You want to pray your way through examination. You want to pray your way through sicknesses. You want to pray your way through hunger. It's not possible. It's not possible. Even if you borrow one and add, it's not possible. When you pray and you don't work, you are expecting a miracle. Do you know what that is called? Witchcraft, superstition. When you pray, whatever your prayers are about, you need to do some work for that prayer to be effective. But the Christians of today rely on prayer alone. Now, the whole Bible talks about the Israelites. They are currently fighting a war. Let me ask you, are they fighting that war with prayers? Or would you say the Israelites of the Bible days are not the same Israelites of today? Do not be fooled. When you pray and perform zero action, it's called witchcraft. When you pray and expect things to change, it's called superstition. Many people don't know that definition. It's called superstition. People pray and then they're waiting for miracles. No, get to work. If you're hungry, you need food. If you're sick, you need a doctor. If you need a house, you build one for yourself. You don't pray one. Even manna, that was free food for the Israelites, according to the Bible, they got tired of it. They got tired. And at some point, they protested. They didn't want again. They didn't want. So how on earth do you think you can rely just on prayers? They don't want to walk. They gather inside the church. Lazy people. They look at the offering baskets. It is about time. Stop being fools. stop sending people out of the church because of your foolishness. The Bible talks about the 5 virgins, the 5 foolish and the 5 intelligent. Those 5 who were intelligent, who succeeded to meet the groom, they succeeded because they made an effort to go with extra fuel. They did work. What I have appreciated the most about the Jewish tradition, I'm not talking about the Jews of today. What I appreciate the most about that tradition is they always teach their children the importance of making money, saving money, and investing money. They are a little nation. They are in a war. Go to Google and Google it. Nobody has ever beaten them in any war. Nobody. No matter how big the nation is. You see where Israel is located? Israel has fought with all its neighbors, all of them. Israel, Jordan, Israel, Iran, Israel, Iraq, Israel, Saudi Arabia, all the neighbors, Egypt, all of them. Some of them even, Pakistan, Palestine, they even joined like 2 nations against, they did not win. Do you think that comes by prayers? No, it doesn't come by prayers. It comes by work. They train, they learn, they prepare, they invest, they save for dangerous days. But the Christians of today, they live by the grace of God. They live by the mercies of God. I hate those statements. If it is not a case of life and death, I don't get to help people like that. By the grace, by His grace. Can't look for something to do. You want to pray from morning till night. Unto what? Go and walk. Can't look for something to do. Stop making stuff difficult for people who are around you. Christianity is not supposed to be a burden. You don't have to be a burden to other people. And by the way, are they even preaching the true Christianity? Are they even preaching salvation these days? I can't remember the last time I heard a teaching on salvation. I cannot. Give and it will be given unto you. You cannot rob God. I don't remember the last time I heard anything salvation. I don't remember. At first you go, the pastors will chastise you, you know, they try to caution you. No more cautioning. You want to caution people who give you. You don't have the courage to caution the people who are going to hand out stuff for you because you don't want to lose people who can. It's rare. I've hardly seen a pastor who comes outrightly and call you out that what you have done or what you are doing is not right. That discipline that used to be in the church has faded away. Things that Christians were known for in the past, the Christians of today, and the corruption will be here. The church is even more corrupt. Yes, the church is more corrupt. I feel embarrassed sometimes, ashamed sometimes. Once you are a leader, have dignity and integrity. But are we going to rest from hypocrisy? No. Well, I am not here to judge. No. I'm just thinking aloud. Yes, I'm just thinking aloud. And I just wanted to come live so I can talk to you about what is unfolding in Major 1, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri's case with Pastor Timothy Omotoso. Like I told you already, Shepherd Bushiri has already made a statement. I am going to do a video with that statement. I am going to analyze the statement for you very well so you get to understand, and you should know that it is a developing story, so there are going to be updates. As for Pastor Tim Omotoso, he hasn't said anything yet. I am also going to find out. Once I get an update, I'll come back to it here. I don't know what your thoughts are. For those of you who are here right now, thank you so much for watching my live. For those of you who will be watching this video much later, I need you to give me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. And for my friends at the Enlightened Christian Gathering, if you have another version that I don't know, please do well to let me know. And for those who always come to insult people who come to analyze news already available on the internet, you do not have the monopoly of bad mouthing. Some people can be very beautiful, very decent, they speak calmly, but their tongue is dangerous. So keep your comments respectful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and see you on my next live. Bye.